Welcome to the DEC4 podcast. You can access episodes, companion articles, research notes and links, as well as information about our contributors and supporters at DEC4podcast.com. Hope you enjoy the program. Once upon a time in Hollywood, Quentin Tarantino, on your recommendation, I really did enjoy it very much, right up until the end, which I didn't get. Manson's murderers go to the wrong house and they basically, get more than they bargained for, and Sharon Tate and Jay Sebring survive. And to me, initially, that really sort of detracted from the film, because I thought one of the real poignancies of the film was seeing Sharon Tate, such a beautiful, delightful person, with that real sort of childlike joy of seeing herself on screen, and just, all the more poignant because you knew what was coming. But of course, it didn't happen. But you, which I'm very grateful for, explained it to me in such a way that gave me a totally new I looked at it in a totally different way. So can you just run me through just the explanation of the end in terms of Quentin Tarantino's style?
Well, I'll tell you what, it was, it was quite an experience in a movie theater for me that I haven't had. I've enjoyed films and I've gone to the theater multiple times in the past to see movies, but it's never been like this for me. And because it was the summer of '69, I had just finished reading Vincent Bugliosi's fantastic book Helter Skelter, and so I was it was fresh in my mind. I was about to say I was an expert on what happened, not so much that, but I had just finished reading about the carnage and about Sharon and about Manson, and so the step-by-step events of that night were fresh in my mind. So again, expectations have, ruined many a great film, and I'm expecting a certain thing to start happening at that point in the film when Manson's followers arrive in the neighborhood. And what begins to unfold, I'm fact-checking, which was a mistake, because to go into a movie waiting for the director, what his next step is folly, because that's not what the art form is about. It's about having it unfold before you. So I made that mistake. But when they go to the wrong house, I thought, does Quentin not know his history like I do? He's made a mistake. Does he not realize this? But watching it unfold, and I have to admit, it did take some pondering afterwards, but when I thought of the physical might of Cliff Booth, and when I thought of the rage and the disdain from Rick Dalton towards the hippies, and when I saw Quentin's camera pan up back, into the heavens, watching Jay Sebring and Sharon Tate alive and well and greeting Rick, it slowly did dawn on me. And I think I might have been walking home from the theater, and I thought, I see what he's done. And the funny thing was, diehard Tarantino fans, I don't know if I'm quite on that level, but right away they probably thought in their heads, Inglourious Bastards, his war movie, how Hitler and his cronies are massacred and killed. Revisionist history I learned about through Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And it wasn't a concept I went into the movie thinking, so I wasn't expecting the ending at all. But as I began to formulate some thoughts, and I thought, though it's hard to write on a film that's actually in the theaters happening because of the major spoiler issue, Tarantino cleanses history, I thought to myself. I thought, it's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, once upon a time. It's a fairy tale. And my stepfather was funny because he was enraged almost. He said, I didn't like that ending at all. It minimized the fact that people were murdered, that an innocent like Sharon Tate and her baby were killed. It minimizes that. In fact, it removes it from history. And I said, well, that's the point. That's what Tarantino wanted to do. It's a love letter not only to Sharon Tate, but to the Hollywood that he's loved. Rick Dalton's character is the epitome of old Hollywood. He's had a TV show. He's taken that Ty Harden, many American actors' route over to Europe to make these crazy European films, crazy wonderful. And he epitomizes Hollywood as well. Cliff Booth is old school stuntman who's been doing it for years. And, Tarantino was saying their thing is over as well. So he's looking back on 1969, the time when Sharon Tate lost her life, the time when old Hollywood was changing, a time when the old Hollywood legends that lived in that area began to live in fear because what's happening here, these hippies, and when you go back and watch the film, Rick's disdain for the hippies is well set up early on in the film, and really helps you understand his rage when they drive up in their Jeep to his front door. But the whole hippie element, the whole, my stepfather again always laments the Oscars when Dennis Hopper and his crew showed up looking bedraggled in jeans and whatnot. And that was the very visual depiction of Hollywood changing. No more red carpet with the tuxedos and gowns. Here was Hopper in his cowboy hat, no doubt stoned. But the whole thing was shifting. And while we all have to accept progress and change, Tarantino was looking back on a beloved time, a time that many of us love, lamenting the fact that it changed. And he is saying, not only did gentle, lovely Sharon Tate live, but Rick met her. Rick got to be friends with her. We'd all like to assume that, Rick's career gets a boost because of his connection with the Polanski family. And so things are okay. Things are nice. Things are not as they were in reality. He has cleansed history, and he is saying, wouldn't this have been nice?
When we had sort of communicated by email and you had sort of explained exactly that, I went back and had a look at it again, and it blew me away. And I actually found that little scene at the end, just where Rick Dalton goes to the gates and Jay Sebring comes down and says, what's been happening? And it's just a really warm, lovely moment. They're very concerned about Rick's welfare, come in, have a drink, relax, and they're still alive in this universe. And that really stuck with me, just this sort of alternate reality where, as you said, everything was all right.
Yeah, even my stepfather, again, he said, once I explained it to him, he said, well, okay, I guess you have to go into it with a little bit of knowledge about the Rick Daltons of history who went off to Europe and whatnot. And so it's not just Sharon Tate. I mean, she obviously symbolizes that pivot point of history, but it's the whole Hollywood thing, the old Hollywood thing that we all love so much. Tarantino, one of us, says, in this film, in this universe, everything is okay. So yeah, you come away with a bit of emotion, not only about this woman, but about the era and the thing that we love.
But I wouldn't have got that had you not helped me with it, so thank you.
Well, no sweat. That's my pleasure. And if anybody has info, we should share it, because it's a shame to have wasted that film, to have gone away saying it's his worst. No, look at it again, learn something, and then go back. Yeah.
They'd hit it off so well. Buddy Holly and JP Ritchie Valens, they'd hit it off so well with Bob Hale and his wife Kathy and Carol Anderson and the people looking after them in Clear Lake, that they were actually going to come back. They even got as far as talking about potential dates for a tour in the summer. They were going to go to Bob Hale's place and they were going to cook up some Wisconsin sausage, and it sort of put me in mind of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yes.
Sharon Tate and Jay Sebring survived the Manson nutcases, and there was sort of a really hauntingly happy ending to that. And it sort of struck me, if only there was a Tarantino ending.
Yeah, exactly. And it gets you thinking, I guess, particularly in the wake of Quentin's film, but the idea of cleansing history and fixing these things, where's the scene? I can picture it, how it's shot with a little bit of a glaze on the camera or whatever, a little bit of a dream sequence where, Buddy lives and they all get together, and even the less superstars in Clear Lake have this connection to these rock and roll heroes, and they have them come to their hometown, and the little kids get to meet these stars, and they have stories growing up about the picnics and the days when Buddy Holly would come and hang out. And yeah, it's a little bit of a postscript that you could conjure up, I don't know, to make yourself feel a bit better, or just to imagine the what ifs. So it is a very Tarantino thing to consider. And, fixing these broken things in history. Yeah, it's a nice thing to think about.
Podcast terms and conditions can be found at our website, DEC4podcast.com. You can contact us there or on our social media. Find us on the major podcasting platforms, and we're also on Substack, Facebook, Tumblr, and Instagram. This has been George Fairbrother. Thanks for listening.
Hi, I'm Steve Collins from the YouTube channel Please Tell Me Where to Go. We have great travel videos and other stuff as well, so go to YouTube. Please tell me where to go. The 2 is the numeral 2, and enjoy a whole bunch of videos.